Do you truly understand phobias? Welcome everyone. Welcome to Signposts for Living with Dr. Kirsten Hunter. We've got gorgeous Kristen Coggan here. Hello, gorgeous.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
Excellent.
We still dance to that song.
We do. We jig.
We do. So today we're talking about phobias.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know if you have a phobia.
No, I wouldn't say I do.
No? Okay,
No,
I'm disappointed.
not yet.
I hoped you would. I'm
No.
like, that'd be handy for this podcast.
I
don't wish a phobia on you.
No, I don't have a phobia.
Well, that's
I have a
good.
fear of things like exercise and stuff. Can't probably claim it as a phobia.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, not quite. Do you know what some of the most common phobias are?
Spiders, heights,
Yep.
flying in a plane.
Yep. Absolutely. Deep water.
Oh yes, maybe I do have a phobia.
Oh.
I'm not
Are we
cool. I'm not
excited
cool in the ocean and it gets a bit deep. I get very scared.
Quite panicky.
Yeah, don't like it. Need to get out.
Would it stop you from doing things?
Yes.
Right.
Maybe I do have a phobia.
You might have some form of fear, yeah. Absolutely.
But I'm a landlubber, so it doesn't. It
Not-
isn't a
you're not-
problem that often.
You're not coming scuba diving with me?
Possibly not.
No. Actually, a lot of people have phobias with any sort of creature that can be quite spontaneous in its action. So a lot of people have phobias of frogs.
Ah, yes.
Very common. I've had people a lot with grasshoppers and, even butterflies.
Wow. Well, yeah, I get that.
I don't. I've never had a butterfly come at me. But anyway.
It's
but
not the butterfly they're scared of. It's a thing, and there's
It's
something
this-
flapping coming at them.
it's the spontaneity. It's something outside of your control. But people can have phobias of all sorts of things. I knew one person who had a phobia of styrofoam. And if
The noise?
styrofoam, just having it in the room, touching it, hearing it, big problem. Some people really absolutely freak out with regard to blackboards.
Because the noise it can make if someone
Yeah.
runs their nails down it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah.
Is the dentist a phobia? I am super scared of the dentist, and it takes a lot to get me there, and my heart is racing.
A phobia, okay, let's talk about what is a phobia.
Yeah.
A phobia is when you have an item or an experience, and when you have any contact with it or the thought of it, you have a panic response, like panic attack, anxiety attack response. Yeah. And, they can be quite debilitating. As you said, flying, people can be really restrictive with what they're doing. I found one of the most cruel phobias is a phobia of birds.
Yes. And I do know someone, don't know them well, but I do know someone who has a phobia of birds, and it is something that's every day. They have to deal with it.
Well, you can't go outside without looking
Yeah, that's
constantly
right.
unless you lived in a very not environmentally inclined place. But, birds, they're around, which is good, but not for these people. Yeah. Some people will have phobias with regard that overlaps with obsessive compulsive disorder.
Okay.
So they might have a phobia of feces, and so then they're really acutely fearful of feces, and so therefore toileting is a big fear.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if I sat and wrote all the phobias I've come across, it would be pages and pages and pages. It's
Yeah, right.
incredible. And do you know about my historical phobia?
How do I not? No.
Really?
I don't know. You might say it and I go, oh, yeah, that's right.
Milk.
Yeah, no, I wasn't aware of that. What are you talking about?
Yes, I have a phobia. I had a phobia of milk, full-blown phobia of milk. And can I say, in my 22 years of experience clinically, I've never come across one quite so weird as mine.
What was the problem with the milk?
Yeah. So when I was 9, I think, I'm a Brisbane girl, and I was at the Echo with my father. My father was a very firm character, and we were in the petting zoo, and they were saying, hey, who wants to milk a cow or something? I don't remember the animal. And I was little Kirsty saying, yes, because you know me, I've still got that attitude. And there I am milking a cow. And then the lady said, I think sarcastically, who would like to drink the milk straight from the udder? And my father said, what a wonderful idea. And I drank the milk from the udder. I literally just sucked on a cow's teat.
Oh, my goodness.
There wasn't much between me and the cow. And anyway, it wasn't milk. It was like warm mucus. Everyone, we just got a beautiful,
gosh, it's shuddered.
beautiful grimace there. Yeah, honestly, I'm not kidding. It was like warm mucus. That's
so
all
you've
it
just
was.
given everybody a phobia.
Yeah, and I didn't really join the dots, but I developed this fear of milk, because if I had milk with me, or someone else had it, and if I didn't think it was extremely crisp cold, like icy cold, then my brain would go switch. It is not, therefore it's warm.
And it's
then,
mucus.
Yes. And then I would get this extreme nausea. I would literally go green, and my heart would pound, my breathing, I'd be having the panic symptoms, and I'd have to leave. So that continued all the way through till I was 24 years old. Do you know why?
Because you had babies and you had to get over your phobia?
I became the milk.
Yes.
I became the cow.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I literally had exposure
therapy.
therapy, which was flooding, literally, of milk. And, I got over it in a day. But prior to that, I know, right?
You were just the weirdest person.
Thank you. But prior to that, every time I went to a coffee shop or a restaurant, I would literally be scanning constantly, hypervigilant. Hypervigilant if you thought you were suddenly going into depth of water.
Yes.
And if anyone had milk brought to them and they didn't drink it straight away, I would kind of have a countdown in my head. I'd have to stand up and leave.
Yeah, no, you had a problem.
I did. And if I got a drink, I'd have to not even let them put it on the table. I would just scull it. If someone drank from my drink, I would have to give it to them and leave. One time I was presenting at a conference, no kidding, all of these professionals there, and in they came with a cup of tea tray at the back of the hall, and it had this tiny little milk jar, and all I could think about was the milk, not this very high order conversation I was having. It was just so irrational.
Wow. So you obviously just never ingested milk, not in your coffee or anything like that?
Yeah, no. I'd have to drink the milk. I'd have to scull it icy cold. So it was either icy cold or it was panic. Yeah. Anyway, you'd think I would have done therapy on myself.
I can't believe I didn't know that. How had that not come out?
I even had to leave accident emergency where I was working once at Southport because a social worker turned up with a milk drink, and I calculated the distance from the car and went, right, I'm out of here. I left work.
Kirsten, that's a wow.
No, but I have to say, she did take a drink, put the lid on it, put it back in her bag, and was going to leave it for half the day. That's legitimately gross even now. But anyway, there you go, phobia. So I get and you know what? I really appreciate my weird phobia. One, because I don't have it now. I'm fine. But two, because now I really get how incredibly crazy we get, how completely irrational we get.
And it's not controllable. You can't just pull yourself together and get past it.
No, you can't. And what's really important is actually our brain is trying to protect us. Our brain has decided that something is dangerous and stay away. And that's why we have a fear of snakes and spiders usually, heights usually, except that kind of fear has been generalised out to things that are not dangerous usually. Yeah. And so what people don't realise is that it's treatable,
So when I pick up a frog and I hold it in front of that person who freaks out and I chase them with the frog, that's not good, is it?
No,
I'm being really cruel.
Very, very cruel. That's just punishment.
Okay, I'll stop that.
Actually, that's how a lot of people get phobias. A lot of people say, I was fine and then my brothers put grasshoppers in my hair. And it usually comes from one event where you felt extremely out of control and you panicked. Yeah, it's quite interesting. So when and so basically we need to understand that the body is responding with the sympathetic nervous system. So that's fight, flight, faint, freeze, and we're absolutely saying, get away from it. This is going to kill you, or it's very dangerous in your eyes. And our wiring is just not rational at all. So, yeah. So
There you go.
I know, right? Phobias are fascinating and cruel and common, extremely common. Yeah. I often come across phobias, not that that's why people come to see me, but while we're at it, they're like, oh, no, I can't actually do that because I have this phobia. Yeah, it's quite interesting.
Wow. And it's interesting how you said it sometimes crosses over with...
OCD?
Yeah, that really resonates with me, with one of my kids.
Right, yeah.
Who had a problem with, had to use their cutlery. Could not use anybody else's cutlery, couldn't use even our other cutlery in the drawer that was clean. So if we went away on holidays, we had to take their cutlery with us.
Really?
Because they'd been told when they were little at kindy or somewhere like that, they'd been given a lesson on germs.
Thank you, kindy.
And somebody probably said, don't share your spoon with somebody. And
yeah,
their little brain just took that in.
The kid with a snotty nose next to you.
Yeah, and it lasted for a very long time. It was a very big deal.
Wow, yep, that's a phobia. Yeah, there you go. They're very common and it's very easy to create them. Yeah, so when we're going to treat them, there's 3 ways we treat them. First one is psychoeducation. So really for people to understand why their body reacts the way they do and for them to get really used to, very confident with exactly what their pattern is because everyone's a bit different. 2, there's 2 and 3. You can either do exposure therapy, which is gradual exposure, which is quite humane, or you do flooding, which is when you breastfeed your child and you have a fear of milk.
Yes. So, yes.
So flooding is when you go all the way to your worst case scenario and you just, it's that person with a fear of heights, but they find themselves at a very high place, obviously, and they just stay there. And so you have to stay at your worst fear, basically, and what happens is that you absolutely peak into panic, but panic can't kill you, it's just cruel. And there's a point where the body gets exhausted, and it's called extinction. And then your body goes, oh, I haven't died. Oh, I'm okay. And then we reprogram, and then we overcome our phobia. Most people don't do that because why would you go and put yourself in a position to be flooded with the thing that you're avoiding?
So when you're getting flooded for your milk phobia, were you just drinking copious amounts of milk or sitting with it around you, or did they put you in a bath of it? Or
Are you actually asking about what happened to me?
Yeah.
No. I just had a baby, and I was producing warm milk.
I thought you meant that you went to somebody before you had the baby. Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
No, I wasn't bright enough to realise this would happen.
That's the other thought that just went through my brain. Didn't you work that out, that was going to be an issue?
I didn't.
I just assumed you had and dealt with it before it became one.
No, not a thought, which was good because I didn't get anxious about it happening. But yeah.
So you're not as smart as I thought you were.
I will give you that. I also had placenta brain. Come on.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
No. You still at some point in that 9 months that should have crossed your mind.
It didn't. Not once. It's pretty funny. Yeah. No. I literally was the warm milk, and I was flooding myself.
There you go. Okay, now I get it.
Got a visual there. Yeah. So
poor Locke.
I know. I thank him every day. But and then the other one, the other approach is what we actually do, which is gradual exposure. So we say, okay, these are, if you think of all the various steps leading up to the worst case scenario, let's put them in order and let's do the easiest one first. And so you go and you have exposure to that, and you have to stay with it. You're not allowed to get distracted. And the body, you get stressed, and then when you calm down and you're quite bored, then you're done. And then you go back again, and if you don't have a reaction, then you've graduated, and then you go to the next step, and next. And what's fascinating is that a lot of them actually dissolve by themselves because it has a ripple effect. So you might think there's 10 steps, but in truth you only have to do 6. Because 4 have just, you've conquered them without, having to put in that effort you thought you had to. So anyway, so that's gradual exposure. And you can do that by yourself if you really want to. But obviously psychologists are supposedly brilliant at that. And you can go along and get some help. you have to have a very trusting relationship to do exposure therapy. And, so you've got to find a psychologist you really click with. That's probably the first point. So there you go, darling.
That's very interesting.
It is, isn't it? I'm glad we talked about it.
That was fun.
And you learnt more about me and all different parts of me.
I know that I didn't think you had a weakness, but you do.
I have many weaknesses. Oh, my gosh. I have many weaknesses.
Oh, that's right. Now I've got to read this thing.
Thank you.
Kirsten Hunter, author.com is Kirsten's webpage. Facebook and Instagram handles are Kirsten Hunter Author, Twitter at Kirsten Hunter AU, YouTube channel Psych in Your Car, and this, of course, is Signposts for Living with Dr. Kirsten Hunter.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, sweetheart.
Bye.
Bye.